Good morning, everybody, and unfortunately he's not here, but I would like to say good morning to the dignitaries who are attending this year's D&D, particularly my very favourite ex-governor, just call me Kim Beazley. And that's not just because he said nice things about us, but isn't that the perfect expression of our Australian spirit? No hierarchy for Kim. If he was an American, he would retain his honorific for life. And just quietly, I think he deserves to do so. As a proud Australian company, we want to take... Oh, that's right, I have to do this myself. Okay. Blonde, not stupid. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we live, work and meet. And in particular, we would like to acknowledge our own Indigenous employees. Like many other companies, we are working hard to not just improve Indigenous representation in our workforce, but also to ensure that we retain our people by offering interesting work and conditions. So I have seen some of the pre-D&D articles suggesting that this year's Diggers and Dealers will be rather less optimistic than it has been in recent years. Sure, the gold guys are smiling. Okay, but there are a few bright spots in other sectors. The much vaunted development of our critical minerals industry has been the subject of innumerable press releases by multiple governments. I stopped counting at 50. If we believe our own spin, then we can not only develop our natural resources, read mining, but also develop a processing sector. Well, as we look at the current carnage in several sectors, it seems this aspiration has hit its first big speed bump. But I think even the most casual observer would recognise that these challenges we face in a number of sectors were wholly predictable. The rush to define and develop projects has meant supply is leading demand either in practice or perception. And this has been exacerbated by slowing growth in a number of key sectors, for example, electric vehicles. Still growing very quickly, but slower than forecast a couple of years ago. And the international economy, particularly in China, remains fragile. Add to that the response of the current dominant players across a number of minerals, mostly China or China-backed entities. It should not surprise anyone that they are not voluntarily ceding market share to new entrants. Gosh, what a surprise. Could anyone name any monopoly in history that has voluntarily given up their position? No, they are giving full rein to their natural determination to protect their position and are able to do so with their low-cost operations, therefore allowing them to offer low pricing. And of course, the cost challenges of operating in Australia are starkly illuminated as we face into markets where pricing, I think in the lithium market is as low as 10% of its heights just a couple of years ago. These are all reasons for the crunch that has hit the sector, but not reasons to not be optimistic about the future. As an industry, we will need to be efficient, and we Australians are. We will need to be creative, and we Australians are. And if we are, we can meet the market, and generally, I think we have proven ourselves to be up to this task, particularly in the mining sector. But developing a successful critical minerals industry means governments need to be active in creating an environment in which we can be successful. This means recognising the distributed nature of our natural resources. After all, in mining, we are all rural and regional citizens. And recognising that critical minerals operations will never match the scale of iron ore and coal. It means governments need to focus on developing infrastructure in our regional areas, things like low-cost, reliable power, efficient logistics systems. I mean, frankly, we are so expensive compared to anywhere else in the world, and ready access to water. Today we're gathered in Kalgoorlie, the capital of one of the highest earning postcodes in Australia, yet we have infrastructure that just barely manages to meet the needs of the residential population, but is wholly inadequate for industry. We can be a critical minerals player, but not by wishing it is so. At Lynas, we have already weathered a period of low pricing where the incumbent player was keen to dissuade us from continuing to operate in the market. We know how to survive and flourish. We need to be efficient, first and foremost. We need to be hard at our costs at all time, and we need to meet the demands of our customers, which includes being cost competitive. These principles are at the heart of our corporate strategy. We've had a very busy year at Lynas executing the plans that create the robust foundations for future growth. In the past year, we have completed construction of our new facility right here in Kalgoorlie, commissioned the plant and commenced production. First MREC was shipped, mixed rare earth carbonate was shipped to our Malaysian facility last quarter. The Kalgoorlie facility increases our capacity and ensures we are able to meet continuing demand growth. We recently announced our plans to produce separated dysprosium and terbium, which Governor Beazley talked about this morning at Lynas Malaysia. This will be the only plant operating outside China until we complete our facility in the US. It will allow us to meet the demands of existing magnet makers and buyers and supports our entry into new segments, for example, microcapacitors. This is a very efficient project and demonstrates the value of being the first mover in the outside China rare earths market. Our established large-scale facilities provide the opportunity for very cost-effective upgrades. A brownfield project is always cheaper than greenfields. It also demonstrates the value of the intellectual property that we have developed in our 10 years of operations. Of course, today is diggers and dealers. That means all of us here today know that processing plants are only as good as the resource that feeds them. In the past year, we've made significant progress on our Mount Weld expansion project. Stage 1 is complete and commissioning commenced. We've entered into a new contract with Carey Mining, who have mobilised to site and commenced operations. Under this agreement, we will transition from campaign mining to continuous mining operations, and we've completed our latest exploration drilling program, which brings me to my core topic today. We're in Kalgoorlie, where I understand that gold bars, or the gold bar, are sexy. But I'm going to talk about something that I think is seriously sexy, and that's our updated resource and reserve statement, which we released this morning. Look at this, read the figures and weep. 92% increase in mineral resources, 63% increase in ore reserves, 46% increase in total rare earth oxides, and a 92% increase in contained dysprosium oxide from June 2018. And we now have reported all of our heavy rare earths. The new resource and reserve statement gives us more than a 35-year mine life at current capacity and more than 20 years at our expanded capacity. This updated statement does not include the fresh carbonatite, but it is based on 84,000 metres of drilling in the saprolite zone and to 200 metres. This has significantly enhanced our understanding of the various zones within the Mount Weld ore body. As you can see from these figures, it has also enhanced our understanding of the mineralogy. The rare earth oxide mineralisation at Mount Weld is hosted within lateritic regolith comprising supergene-enriched material derived from the underlying intrusive carbonatite. It's like really good. 4 distinct lithological zones have been identified and differentiated at Mount Weld, all of which are bound to the east by a northwest striking dolerite dike. The most exciting discovery is the expansive heavy rare earths halo shown here by the yellow blocking. The contained heavy rare earths, specifically dysprosium and terbium, proves Mount Weld is not just an exceptional source of light rare earths, but also an exceptional world-leading heavy rare earth resource. The increase in mineral resource derives from a lateral extension of mineralisation, additional heavy rare earth elements mineralised zones, new deep apatite zone defined beneath the current pit, transitional and fresh mineralisation below the 2018 life of mine pit shell, extending outwards from the central lanthanide deposit, and mineralised clay zones above the saprolite ore zone of up to 3% rare earth oxides. The Mount Weld rare earth ore reserves are now 32 million tonnes at 6.4% total rare earth oxides for 2 million tonnes of contained total rare earth oxide. Key changes compared to the 2018 ore reserves include the ore reserves tonnage has increased 63%, average grade has reduced from 8.6 to 6.4%, which is still an amazing number by comparison to other deposits, reflecting depletion and a revised cut-off grade. Contained total rare earth oxide has increased 22%, and contained dysprosium oxide has increased 92% from 6,660 tonnes to 12,790 tonnes, and there's about another 4,000 tonnes of terbium on top of that. So I will leave it to the mining analysts, Reg, to make comparisons to other published resource and reserve statements, because all comparisons are odious. When you do, I think you will find it validates our view that continuing investment in exploration of the Mount Weld ore body offers the most economic pathway to continued supply of rare earth elements, both light and heavy. A 63% increase in ore reserves following 10 years of mining operations is an excellent outcome from this most recent exploration program. It has identified truly new ore reserves. The increase also reflects a reduction in cut-off grade to 2.8% based on our proven processing capability and the introduction of the new DYTB circuit in Malaysia. We've now included the ability to process our tailings, which grade at 7.6% in the ore reserve, based on the new processing capability from our Mount Weld expansion program, specifically the fine grinding circuit. We've had this goal for some years and have carefully managed our tailings to ensure that we are able to recover them. In the mining world, I think the resource and reserve update is about as sexy as it gets. I would commend the statement we released this morning as a really good read for anyone with even a passing interest in geology and mining. New resource, new understanding of the geology and metallurgy, and firm plans for developing and processing those materials. It's a cracking read, even if you know the ending, which is Mount Weld wins again. Our geological and metallurgical teams have worked really hard on this program over the past 2 years. We've been pleased to include expert geologists from JOGMEC on that team and thank them once again for their partnership. Please do come and see us at our booth. Marcel Watson, who led the program, is on duty and has the expertise to answer any questions you may have. The Mount Weld ore body and operations create the sustainable foundations for our business success. Mount Weld is low cost, it's high grade, and we are able to use public infrastructure, for example, the Laverton Airport. We add value to this remarkable resource with our processing operations, which we continue to develop. We are a global company already and are executing on our expansion program, which will increase our capability, our footprint, and our capacity. We have 3 operating sites with expanded operations at our Mount Weld and Kuantan facilities. We have invested over $1.5 billion off our balance sheet, which is why I think government can help with infrastructure, with over $1.3 billion of that right here in the goldfields. And I know you all love your gold, but we really want you to love your rare earths too. At Mount Weld, actually, anyone who's visited Mount Weld, people came, one of our large global investors came one day and looked at our mill and said, "That's the mill?" It's such a high-grade deposit that really our processing facility has looked like not much more than a pilot plant. But now we're starting to look a bit more like a grown-up as we complete our expansion. Stage 1 of our expansion is complete and will be commissioned and tied into current processing operations before the end of the year. We are really proud to welcome Carey Group on site. We don't actually need the Prime Minister to tell us the best thing we can do for our Indigenous partners is to support economic development. Carey are an exceptional firm. They have a very strong focus, which aligns with ours, on efficient and safe operations, and as Australia's first Indigenous-owned firm, a strong social purpose at their heart. We are excited about our partnership and the benefits it will bring. And most recently, we also announced the gas-firmed hybrid renewable power station. Life is very busy at our mine. Some of you will be joining us on our bus tours of the Kalgoorlie site. We are incredibly proud of this site. It is like really cool, you know, and it's just great when you see a brand new chemical plant before it inevitably gets a bit grubby. It's just so impressive, and our focus now is to ramp it up smoothly and progressively improve cost effectiveness. In Malaysia, over the past 12 months, our relationship with the Malaysian government has normalised. Malaysia has always been a key part of our success. It is low cost. We have really good people who work for us there. We've now got confidence to continue to invest in our Malaysian plant. This picture shows our new building. Its primary purpose is to receive and process mixed rare earth carbonate from Kalgoorlie. However, as always, we took the opportunity to install equipment to continue to improve efficient operations, for example, soda ash processing and new separation circuits, which we've configured to support the upgrading of our SX capacity and the new DYTB separation circuit. Gosh, it's a good thing we found some more dysprosium and terbium at Mount Weld, isn't it? With this capability, Lynas continues to enhance our position as one of the leading suppliers of separated rare earths and the only scale producer outside China. At Lynas, but we believe that what we do is important. We also believe that how we do it is equally important. ESG is not a cute little acronym or an external imposition. The principles sit at the heart of everything we do. Sustained prosperity can only be achieved when our people and our communities share in that prosperity. And we continue to engage in programs within a structure of health and sport, education, environment, and supporting vulnerable community members, with some examples included on this slide. So market dynamics are just a little bit challenging right now. However, we know the materials we produce are essential for new technologies as we progress to net zero. We are focusing on ensuring that Lynas is future fit in all of the areas that I have covered today.